I'm having a chat with Oliver Keane. How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, not too bad. So we've been playing a new single of yours called Hey. Tell us a bit about the
Yeah.
single.
Hey existed for a very long time. I think it was about 3 years before I finally decided to put it on the project on Motion Sickness. And it was just one of those songs that went through so many different iterations, so many different versions. But it just always kept popping back up again, in conversations and with friends. And it just kind of felt a bit dumb not to release it in the end. So yeah, I'm happy it's really kind of out in the world now and finally, almost put behind me. I don't have to do any more vocals on it or recordings of it. So yeah, no, it's a really cool song and I'm really happy that it's out in the world now. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's off your new EP as well called Motion Sickness. For those who've not had
yeah.
chance yet to take a listen to the EP, what could be heard on that EP?
Um it's a bit more, I'd say, experimental than I've usually done before. I mean, the intro is really cool. Obviously, the title track, Motion Sickness, is just an intro. That's all it is, and it's something that a concept that I've never really done before. And the rest of the tracks, I feel like as a project, they really flow together, and it's the first time that I'm really happy with the project as a whole, and I'm really, happy how all of the tracks fit together and play together. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go from crying to dancing to an indie song, then it's the perfect EP for you. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the sound that you made with this EP, was it the sound you wanted to make, or is it simply just how it turned out in the studio?
I mean, obviously, indie is what I've done for the past, however long since I was
Mm.
14, 15. And I don't know, I think I've said recently a few times that it almost feels like an homage to all of the indie that I've done growing up. I'm getting to a point in music now. I wrote my first EP when I was 15. I'm now 21. I'm at the point where I kind of want to start diversifying what I'm
Mhm.
doing. And it felt like, you know what, let's just do one last really nice project just to pay homage to everything that I've done over the past couple of years. And now that's done, I can kind of breathe a little bit and go and experiment for a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, what sort of things are on your list to experiment with and to try to see if they work for you?
I mean, I self-produce a lot of my music now. I co-produced it for a while, but now, it's just kind of me and my computer. So, and I love just going through lists and lists of synths and drum sounds and everything, and I think just having fun with that is something that I kind of hadn't done in a while. I used to produce a lot more for other people, and that was, I loved just sitting and producing a track for hours upon end and really
Yeah.
getting into the details. And with my own music, it was kind of hard when it was, when it's indie, you can't have two guitars, a bass, a drummer, and a singer, you can't really diversify too far out of that. But no, I think for a while I'm just gonna have fun with it again and kind of no expectations, see what comes from it. So.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks normally start off?
Um, it kind of varies. I mean, I'm a guitarist by nature. It's the first instrument I learned before I even sung. So, I think a lot of the time it starts with me just messing about on the guitar. Maybe I'll come up with a cool riff, especially for the indie stuff. Obviously, guitar is so important. Sometimes I'll completely flesh out the entire instrumental before I even think about writing. But no, and then obviously sometimes it can just be I'll be walking to the shops and a lyric will come to my mind or a little melody idea. My voice notes app is a complete jumble of just me singing into my headphones really quietly in the back of the co-op. So, yeah.
Nice, nice. Do the lyrics seem to come to you fairly easy, especially when the music comes first, or can it be a challenge at times?
It can definitely be a challenge. I'm definitely prone to writer's block a lot of the time, but I just don't pressure myself a lot of the time. I think a good song will come eventually. I think it's Ed Sheeran that said every single bad song that you write is one song closer to a good song.
Mm.
So there's just no pressure on every single song being an absolute work of art and the best thing you've ever heard. And just like I said before, if you just have fun with it, then eventually you'll write a good song. So.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And speaking of people hearing your songs, you've got your first headline show coming up in February. I bet you can't wait for people to hear your music.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for that. I mean, I've done support shows and support tours for a long time now. And to finally be able to say that I've got my own show is an absolute dream come true. Um, So yeah, I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah, I bet you can. Is this the start of more touring and shows to come?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I want to do. I mean, it's so expensive now. I mean, it always has been, but just, I mean, recently it's got absolutely mental, the cost of touring and playing
Mm,
shows. But I mean, hopefully, yeah. I mean, and the dream is to go out into Europe and play a few out there. You know, I've done a lot of shows out in Germany and Rotterdam and all those places in Europe, and I'd love to go back and do my own shows out there. You know.
yeah, absolutely. And obviously, support tours, I'm sure you're wanting to be getting on. And then there's festival season as well. Do you hope to do some of those too?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, festivals is something that I've kind of dabbled in the past, but we've never really, fully sent it into festivals. And I think it'd be really fun to do a full, festival season run, just go from play. I love festivals. I mean, you can't beat them. I remember we played Neighborhood a couple of years ago, and we were playing the Viola Beach stage, which
Mm,
is, what would be considered the smallest stage. And, most of the audiences, they were pulling 100, 200 people, and I remember we did a capture in the bottom cover, and just everybody that was walking past stopped and listened, and we must have
yeah.
had, 1,000, 2,000 people there, and you just never know with festivals. It can be incredible like that. So, yeah, I love them.
Yeah, nice. And as you're fairly new to the music world, I'd like to find out what made you do this in the first place.
Oh God, a lack of being able to do anything else, to be quite honest. I hated education. I was the classic. I skipped school every single day, and all I could think about was music. And then by the time I was, 16, 17, and had to think about going off to college or, and get my life together, I thought, well, there's only one thing that I'm really actually that good at, and that is music and writing songs, and I love it. And I thought, why not? And yeah, it's just kind of, I've never really thought about it, to be honest. I might have a mental crisis now that you've asked me that.
Yeah, no, please don't. And I'm sure you've got some aspirations of things you want to achieve in your music career. If you had to pick one thing, what would that one thing be?
Um, God, there's so many.
Mm,
I think a big one for me would definitely be doing like a headline tour, a full headline tour. Obviously there's so many dream venues, Madison Square Gardens, everything. And I think it'd just be really fun to do a full tour and just tick off every single one of my dream venues.
yeah,
So hopefully one day.
yeah. Fingers crossed. Oliver, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Cheers. Thank you very much, mate.